I hope you didn't give up on claiming home office expenses just because you don't know how. Not when I'm here. So today I want to show you how to claim home office expenses step by step on your tax return. But before we get into that, let's talk about the conditions that you need to meet to be able to claim home office expenses. The first one is that you need to be working from home 50% or more of the time. And you also need to have a dedicated home office space. Unfortunately, your bedroom is not going to cut it. And also a corner in your sitting room is also not going to cut it. And without those two conditions being met, you cannot claim home office expenses. Now let's talk about what exactly you can claim as a home office expense. The first thing is your rent. So if you're not a renter, unfortunately, you cannot claim your bond payment, and you also cannot claim the interest charged on your bond. It is no longer acceptable. The next thing is repairs to your premises, levies, rates and taxes, cleaning, electricity, then office furniture and repairs to those furniture items as well. Now, how do you calculate your home office expenses? For things like furniture, it's pretty straightforward. You can actually claim the full amount, but anything that's related to the actual premises has to be apportioned. So meaning, if you're going to claim rent, you can't actually claim the full rental amount because there's other rooms in your house that are being used for other things. So you need to actually calculate the portion that actually applies to your home office space. SARS has a formula for this. The formula is amount is equals to A divided by B times total costs, where A is the area in square meters of your home office and B is the total area in square meters of the full residence. And then total costs will just be the actual amounts for the things that you're claiming for that are related to the actual premises. So the rent, the rates, the electricity, cleaning, and such. I'm going to give you an example with a claim that I actually made a few years ago. I'm actually no longer somebody who works at home at all, but there was a point in time where I was actually working from home 100% of the time. So this is actually what my expenses look like. Now, your starting point when it comes to your home office expenses is actually identifying how big your residence is and how big your home office space is. You can usually request a plan of the apartment if you're living in an apartment or a house, but if you cannot get a plan, you can actually measure the space yourself. Now, this is much easier to do if you're actually living in an apartment. This is something that I did myself with an actual tape measure because the agent couldn't give me a plan of the apartment. Based on my measurements, I actually drew it out myself. And the full apartment was 80 square meters and my office space was 15 square meters. So I then identified what percentage is 15 square meters of 80 square meters. And that was about 18.75% of the full apartment. The only thing that I was actually claiming for was the rent. So what I did is I actually calculated how much my full rental for the tax year was. So the rent actually changed in around September. So I think 6 months was 5,850 and the other 6 months was 6,350. So then I multiplied by that and then I got my total rent for the year, which was 73,200 Rand. Basically, my formula now would have been my A, which is 15, divided by my B, which is 80, times 73,200 Rand. That came up to 13,725, which is in essence 18.75% of my rental payments. So this is then the number I would use on my tax return. But if in your case you have additional expenses, like perhaps you bought a chair in the tax year or you bought a table, then you would be able to add those things to that amount. And perhaps maybe you also had a cleaner during the period, then you would also do the same formula for the cleaning costs as well. Now, when you go onto your e-filing on your tax return, on the form wizard, you are going to look for this question. And then you're going to click yes on this, because then this adds the other deductions portion into your tax return. Now, once you've done that, then you can go on your tax return and then you look for the home office expenses code or the home office expenses part in the other deductions. Then there is where you would enter your amount. Pretty easy and straightforward. Now, the important thing to remember is that you need to have evidence for everything. So that means that you need to have your rental agreement to show that you actually live there. Then you also need your proof of payments. What I used to do is I would actually just use my bank statements to show that I did pay the rent. And then also, if you're going to claim for things like cleaning, you need to show that you're paying somebody for the cleaning service. For things like repairs, you need to keep your receipts and your invoices, your proof of payments. For things like furniture that you purchase, you also need to keep your receipts for that as well. Another thing that you're also going to need is a work from home letter from your employer, just to confirm that you are working from home. And you also need pictures of your home office. You need to take pictures of your home office. I hope that helped and hopefully you get a little something back.